Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 8:47 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, April 30th, 2021. Obviously, today is the last day of the month. Uh, so, what I asked in my, I always try to give us things to think about with the titles of my videos, more times than not, anyway. So, can there actually be end of month volatility? In other words, action today. Uh, you know, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week, we had, almost unplayable action, right, for the equity indexes, anyways. Uh, Yesterday, we had that pop up, right? Everyone's looking for the pop down. We got the pop up, but, it did move down first and then back up. Now, this morning, if we were to open where we are now, we'd be opening up around 80, which would be, right around the middle of this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday action. So at 41.80. So not too much yet. But what I'm trying to say with my title is, can there be action or end of the month volatility? Don't count on it. I think we can obviously get more action than we had Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday today. But more than likely, not as much action as we saw yesterday. So don't think that today's the day that we're going to lose this weekly low and just skate down lower and never look back and just trend down all day. Potentially we could get a trend. I always look at the session as three different sessions after the bell rings. You got the first 2 hours that were open with the Euros. You got lunchtime that's basically between that time frame and 2 o'clock, and then you got from basically from 2 o'clock to 4:15 when futures close the first time. So those sessions, generally either consolidate, trend, or reverse, right? So those are the three ways that can happen in each of those sessions. Normally, you don't get three sessions that all go the same way. You don't get, all three sessions that trend down or all three sessions that trend up. That's a trending day. That's unusual. Usually, you'll get a trending day down maybe for the Euros, consolidation over lunch, and a reversal in the afternoon. That would be a normal play. You can get the trending down, consolidation, and then another trend down. On today, I would look for, potentially you could get a trend one way or the other, and then consolidation for the next two pieces. So looking at the action, and let's blow this up. For the Russell, right, we've been struggling. My jail zone for the Russell was between 21.75 basically and 22.75. We've fallen back below 22.75 now. So as we fell down here, and you can look back at go back to probably the middle of April, around the 14th or so. You can start looking to see where these resistance zones were. Potentially they're going to be where the support lands now. So I would say as long as the Russell can get bid somewhere above 22.58 to 22.49, right? It's probably gonna do a little bit job of just staying in that tighter zone, maybe under 75, until after one of the sessions ends, right? We're going to have a hard time now getting back over 84. Getting above 84 to 89, really, that would start a squeeze higher. So keep that in mind during today's session, that if we do reverse above that, you have, basically failure to collapse. Here's another way to look at this. This is what traders are, that think outside of the box are thinking, or actually think in the box. You've got a 100-point zone here between 21.75 and 22.75. You've tested up above it. You've failed. You've re-entered this box. You should not only go to the bottom of this box now, you should go through the bottom, right? So Traders are looking that since you failed to hold above 22.75, that you're going to completely break down. They could end up being correct. I just don't think that's going to be today. And we'll find out when we start next week, right? Do we get back up above 22.75 or are we in here? If we're in here, we could end up back in the same rotation zones that we were before. But I don't think today's the day that we get an utter and complete collapse out of the Russell. So, looking at the ES, just remember the fives. I got this 41.54 marked, but you could easily have made it 55. And each of these markers I put on the basic support and resistance zones, they're just areas to remind me that in and around here, within a smidgen or so, and what you can classify the smidgen however you want. You can put these lines on yourself, see where you think there's reactions. But when I draw these lines, I'm actually looking for areas where the market's told me it likes to be above the zone or below the zone. This is just price action, support and resistance, the most basic form of technical analysis there is, and this is in the eye of the beholder. This is the way I see it, and you can draw them, you can move them a little bit around the way that you see them. But basically, if you remember the fives, 41.55, 41.65, 41.75, 41.85, and we'll see if there ends up being a 41.95. You can see right around the top of this one, it was sold here, it was sold there, it was sold here. So probably that you're looking at 10-point ranges, basically. So don't think that we're going to get a 40-point collapse, although anything is possible. But look for it to go in stair steps up or down in these 10-point zones as it goes through them, right? Failure, to hold below one zone, you get back in another zone, see how it rocketed back up and then back down. Tested 85, failed 85, come back down to 75, tested 75. So one thing that I do look at when I look at these, right, for the action is where support is it becoming resistance, right? Or is it becoming support, right? You could argue that 75 is still support. Obviously it is. But now you could potentially make the argument that 85 is now resistance, that we've fallen under it. So until it breaks, you're, could be just stuck in here. So looking at the NASDAQ in a similar fashion, right? We tried to get back up above this, let's just call it 14,000 plus or minus 12, because that's what it is, down to 88 up to 12. So 14,000 plus or minus 12, right? You've tried to get above it. You've failed once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and you've come back down. So that should be overhead supply and it doesn't matter why, right? Traders are telling you they have no interest in buying this above that level. So it doesn't matter why, it just is. So as we look at this coming down, you got 13,945 is above, and you can still see where it's been sold before, supported before. There's many ranges in here. I just try to put the major reactions on here. So below 825, if it does fall, you can see there's some consolidation down here, basically around 13,787. I'm not going to put that on there. You can see the leg start up. If you got Jack's trade room indicators around 13,777, but down to 13,730 would be the next floor, right, with those potential little pause points above. And then it's the same thing coming back up now. You've got, these little areas up into 13,945 that you kind of, pause it on the way up. So when you look at this, you can add these little, many areas of support and resistance in, but these are the major areas that you're in right now. And we could just get down here, right? Could we take another leg down this morning and then consolidate the rest of the day and test back up here? We could end up literally closing near where we opened today at the end of the day. and have, basically a move down and a move up, or we could end up, moving up and come back down. But I would look for the closes today potentially to be very near where we opened today. So looking at the Dow, same thing. Can't get above this 34,000. Basically, it's 34,000. Let's call it 20 plus or minus 20 points. And then you can't get above that, and you're just seesawing back and forth, right? That's resistance above. So you've got to consolidate here, suck in some more bears, right, to be able to have them want to buy back their positions as they're losing money later in life. So until that happens, right, we're just consolidating down here. Look at these ranges, and you can look at this on our chart from last Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Horseshoe down, back up, down, back up. And then the Dow has literally been all week long, it's been stuck in that horseshoe range, right? It's just filling in more price action. Do you like it here? Do you like it there? Do you like it here? What do you like? They're just trying to make us happy. So as we come back and forth through here, we're just stuck in the zone. I don't think today is the day we're going to get below 663 and make a run towards 371. That could potentially happen next week. I don't think it's going to be today. That you get end of the month window dressing, you get a bunch of other stuff going on. Looking at the reports from last night, Amazon was the big one. It did have a pop up. That's been faded so far. We'll see what kind of action it gets from there. But really, where it goes, flat, right around this. 34.71 where that started this hike up. That's what you're going to want to watch down to the tops of this consolidation. And I would say getting below 3,400, which is $150 away, mind you, basically 140, that would still spell trouble for Amazon. So looking at the overnight action, 27.25 points. If we look at our level 4s, we've got, all the way up to 42.90 basically and down to 41.1750. If you remember, the low of last week was 41.10 half, right? That's not even on the table of reasonable possibilities for today's action based on the floor trader pivot levels. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think we're going to really get that much of a break. And if we do test some support lower, the first thing that needs a crack is basically from 41.50 to 41.60. That area is no man's land. So looking at all the indexes, the Russell right around value area low right now. The NASDAQ below value area low. The ES below value area low. The Dow just inside value all night. If you look at the overnight high, a couple ticks above the value box into the high zone, right? The low so far is above the low zone inside of value. It's just traded value all night long. So let's watch these things. We might get a little bit of a leg down in the morning. But remember, you got the 3 sessions, right? You're going to have potentially a move one way or another. Normally, the first 2 hours is not consolidation, right? I will give you that. Usually you do get a little bit of a push one way or another in the first 2 hours. Then you've got the middle 2.5 hours, and then you've got the last 2 hours. So I hope this helps. I'll be watching the overnight value areas, and we'll see where we go from there. And remember, if the Dow loses value area low, the rest of these stay below value area low, and the overnight ranges, right? These are going to also be right around where the overnight value areas are, right? We could get a trending day down in the morning, right? We would have 8 below, or we would be, 8 of the grids below us is where we'd be trading, and that is for an AM trend. However, staying at the floor and staying above those, right, is going to push away because all these traders that are trying to sell it are going to have to start covering as it starts moving up. I hope this helps. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you Monday.